Hey guys, Chicky Domain, Deboo.com with a Deboo.com surf forecast update. This forecast update effective around 1:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Sunday, September 18th, 2016. And guys, starts you off with an image of a rhinoceros as we are starting to see a rhino swell setting up and early signs that winter swell season will soon be upon us in the latest swell forecast imagery. Going to start you off with a 48-hour swell forecast out of the National Hurricane Center, and you'll see the signs that we're talking about. Here it is right here, front runner KAR-ULL swell setting up next 48 hours. And as you can see here, this looks like the horn of a rhino. Ancient rainbow warrior sign for break out the rhino chasers, guys. Going to show you that here in the latest run of the GFS model forecast. Going to start you off with some satellite imagery of Tropical Storm Julia, or what was Tropical Storm Julia. This is her leftover remnants, area of circulation off the Carolina coast. The National Hurricane Center has noted over the last 24 hours, convection had fired up overnight, and it appears that for the last 2 to 3 days, Julia attempts to make a comeback. The National Hurricane Center has put Hurricane Hunter reserve aircraft on standby for tomorrow afternoon as environmental conditions could become a little bit more conducive for Julia to regain tropical storm status as it approaches the Carolina coast. All mariners along the Carolina coast should monitor the progress of what was, or TD Julia, off the Carolina coast over the next 24 hours, guys. Does not give you much time to prepare if convection was to start to increase again this afternoon into tonight, as we've seen over the last 3 to 4 days. So stay tuned to our social feeds for real-time updates on this tomorrow, especially tomorrow morning. We'll take a look to see what it looks like. But right now, it'll be tomorrow afternoon, if necessary. The National Hurricane Center will send the Hurricane Hunter aircraft in to investigate what is left of Julia. Going to zoom you out a little bit now and start talking about KAR-ULL. Tropical Storm KAR-ULL still remains poorly organized, but is forecast to strengthen a little bit today and maybe become a little bit better organized. When we go in and take a look at the satellite imagery, this area just north of Puerto Rico, we have ex-Julia in the top left-hand portion of your screen. We have a trough of low pressure that is north of Puerto Rico with incoming Tropical Storm KAR-ULL coming down out of the right portion of your screen over the next 72 to 96 hours. Now, this is the exact location of where the National Hurricane Center is saying where KAR-ULL will intensify into a hurricane. Just north of PR here. Here's Hispaniola right here. And so we always like to look ahead of the forecast track to see how things are starting to set up. And you can see that there is some cyclonic spin weak that's trying to develop right here in the end of this trough. And then you can also see the southerly flow that's on the backside of this, because down over Puerto Rico is the northern extension of a western moving tropical wave. Here's the latest forecast out of the National Hurricane Center showing Tropical Storm KAR-ULL Wednesday morning as a tropical storm, and then by Thursday morning intensifying into a hurricane, and then Friday morning remaining a hurricane. Looking at the latest out of the Tropical Atlantic Forecast Branch, wind wave forecast, seas increasing in excess of 25 feet with Tropical Storm KAR-ULL. Now, guys, we talked about this in our update yesterday. This is prior to intensification of Hurricane KAR-ULL. Once it intensifies here north of Puerto Rico, seas will likely increase into excess 30, maybe excess 35 feet behind some strong northeast winds that are developing. Hispaniola surfers, Puerto Rico surfers, Virgin Island surfers, all the way over to the Bahamas, guys, get ready for this because if high pressure builds in and increases that northeast fetch in the extended period, could be an extended period of some large surf coming your way. Now, here's a zoomed out look at the 48-hour swell forecast. Again, here's that image that we saw this morning of the head of a rhino. But look at this northwest swell coming out of the North Atlantic, guys. When we show you the model, the latest run of the GFS model, this is early indication that the winter swell season is about to kick into full gear. And there's also a chance within the next 2 weeks, we could see the season's first hurricane force low south of the tip of Greenland. Here's the latest 96-hour swell forecast. Now, this is in 4 days. This is showing the front runner swell of KAR-ULL reaching the U.S. coast, U.S. East Coast in here. Now, again, mind you, this is front runner swell. KAR-ULL is expected to be into here Wednesday, Thursday, generating a larger swell as it intensifies into a hurricane. Again, look at this northerly swell coming out of the North Atlantic, and this could play into the extended forecast. Now, we're going to jump you over to the afternoon run of the GFS. We're going to keep it within 10 days. Guys, we could be talking about KAR-ULL for a while, just like we've talked about Hermine, just like we've now talked about Julia. We could be talking about KAR-ULL for days. We're going to keep it in a 10-day window, but here's KAR-ULL down here at the bottom portion of your screen. High pressure, 1034 millibar stacked in here. That front runner swell that we just showed you is coming over the top of 96L Invest, which could become Lisa. Looks to be a fish storm, but with this high pressure stacked over both of those features, that's creating some east-southeast winds and a nice decent fetch, and that's what's going to give us the 12 to 13 second front runners. Advance you through the model run. As we work through, you'll see that by Tuesday, KAR-ULL works his way north of PR. By Wednesday, Thursday, the trend has been closer to the Bahamas. Still remaining a fish storm, but look what happens as we get into day 10, guys. This is 10 days right here. 987 millibar hurricane, backside of Bermuda, okay? And look up here in the North Atlantic. A 983 millibar low, cranking out northeast ground swell coming out of the North Atlantic. Look at this other big area of low pressure getting ready to move in towards the North Atlantic with what would be Hurricane KAR-ULL moving up into the North Atlantic as well. Going to advance you through the model run just a little bit more, and you'll see, guys, that once KAR-ULL moves up into the North Atlantic, another deep area of low pressure as it gets absorbed into the south tip of Greenland. Key signs that the winter swell season is getting ready to come upon us. Guys, that's all we got for you for now. Stay tuned for the next update.